Roll call.
Supervisor Hill,
Here.
Treasurer Anderson,
Here.
Trustee Appy. Here. Trustee Oxley,
Here.
Clerk Squires. Here.
Thank you. It's, before we approve the meeting agenda, there is, down in the elected officials reports. Trustee Osling replaces trustee Newton. However, trustee Newton does have a report over there since he served most of November. These reports are always 1 month back, not in December of the December meeting. And then, of course, Treasurer Kruger is no longer with us as Treasurer Anderson. So having said that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those corrections.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Appy. Second by Treasurer Anderson. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion carries. Thank you. It's now time for the approval of the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion at this time to approve that as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Clerk Squires.
I'll second.
Treasurer Anderson. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. We're in the elected officials report again. They're out there on the back table. We're still trying to find the sweet spot not to kill paper. So I'm hoping you can take some things home with you so we can find that sweet spot so that we're informing, but yet not wasting the paper nor the money. So I would entertain a motion to place the elected officials report that to be accepted and placed on file.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Clerk Squires. Supported by trustee Appy, or excuse me, Osling. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We're now supporting the agenda where we will accept public comments on the action items tonight listed in the agenda.
That's on new business?
Pardon?
For new business?
I can't.
For new
Yeah,
business.
for what we have on here.
Yeah, for whatever's under new business, correct. If you have a public comment, we'll ask you to step forward, state your name, have a seat, please address the board, and try and keep it to about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Wait, thank you.
Dave Knifick, Gerrish Township. I want to commend you on looking at alternatives and other methods to determining what's in the best interest of Higgins Lake with your steering gear or steering gear. You can tell where I came from. Dealing with your steering committee. What I want to say, I have a lot of knowledge and experience. And people keep saying step system, and it's like saying road. And the main thing you have to understand is there's a lot of roads. There's dirt roads, seasonal roads, highways, same thing with step systems. And when they make a comparison of a step system to justify the municipal step system that they're trying to put in, it's not a good comparison. You have step systems that are cluster systems that will feed into a field, a septic field. Example is Forest Dunes in Roscommon had that. It didn't work. They put septic tanks in instead. You have step systems that will go into gravity systems. The gravity feed system, it operates totally differently than operating the municipal step system. Example, Southwest Ferry County. The other thing is when you say a step system, it can be one unit at a personal house that's going, lifting the fluids up to go into a field. Okay. Big differences. One that's just a single unit or a cluster, you may have a pressure in that system of 0 to 8 psi. In a municipal system, you can have pressures from 80 to 120 psi. And that's what the concern I've got is that everybody's trying to compare other systems, and the municipal system that has been proposed in the past is not the same. And it needs to be looked at. The problem that I see with Gula is they're a utility authority. And they only can look at utility type systems, which is a sewer system. They can't look at septic systems. The other thing is there's a lot of information out there in a 2015 USGS study done on Silver Lake, which was looking at a step system. They determined that the main problem was runoff going into the lake. That you could put a sewer system in and it would not change the quality of the water. It doesn't mean it doesn't help. But it wouldn't change the quality of the water, that it was the runoff that had to be addressed. And, you know, that's something that people should look at. That was in 2015. How did their system, how did it work with, what they worked out? They went with plants to help take care of the quality of their, water. So no one's gone and looked at those studies. That's the concern I've got, is it's too much of a tunnel vision that we get out of Google. With the steering committee, I'm more than willing to sit on any committees, any boards that you guys have. My knowledge is about 40 years of plumbing. And that type of knowledge is working for a manufacturer where I diagnose failures of both our products and also competitors' products, design systems. I actually plumb and train, and also pull, change them from galvanized piping over to your thermoplastics. I'm also familiar with the step systems. I'm familiar with septic systems. I've done a lot of research and study just because of the Google, so I have a lot of data that would be useful. I'm not someone who's looking at a tunnel vision. I'm looking at what is the best way to take care of the situation, both for the lake and for the residents, because cost, of course, is a factor. So I just want to bring that back with you.
Thank you, Mr. Knuth. Appreciate your comments. On the agenda item, please approach, again, indicate your name and, in your case, can you give us a spelling of your last name? Because I know it's longer.
Yeah, Robert Janowski, Janowski.
Thank you. What is yours?
This drone. Okay, so, you know, I started attending the meetings and back in May, you know, it was voted by the board for what, $8,000 up to. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm looking at the meeting minutes just the other day, published rather late. And I see 10,000. And, you know, so it's a shell game. I mean, so you know, you're just moving the marble under the shell. And it's a want, it's not a need. Oat Lake is the largest inland lake in Michigan, right? They don't have a drone. Denton doesn't have a drone. I made numerous calls today. I have yet to find anybody that has a drone. DNR has one that drops fire bombs for controlled fire. That's fine. They need it. Do we really need it? I don't think so. I mean, I'm all for saving lives and everything, but I'm more concerned with this township getting a fire station. And if you keep spending money like this, you're never gonna get it. I won't vote for anything if you keep spending money like this. I will help you push to get a fire station if you do it reasonable. Denton Township, your fire station blows theirs away in my eyes. Okay, they used to run their EMS out of it. Now, yeah, they built a new EMS, but you can't separate. You don't have to have a Taj Mahal tied together. That's beautiful what you had drawn up, that you paid $10,000 for that firm to draw that. That was a waste of money too. You should have had a committee to I mean, I know you had people input, but it's like, you really didn't have your thinking caps on. Because I know you needed more room. You know, 2.9, just like Elma did, I'll vote and I'll go out in public and I'll get everybody else to vote too. I promise you. You build that, you put your EMS in that building, you convert it, do whatever you gotta do to partition it, get more office space, put your new chief in the new building. beautiful. I mean, it'll work and it's reasonable and you need it. I mean, I toured it. I agree. You know, you got closets full of stuff. You could utilize that old station and make all the supplies. My idea, take that playground, put the new station, the 2.9 million one, put it back there. Move whatever park stuff into your property, make a walking path, a beautiful park. I mean, you need to think. I mean, you know, you could do a lot. It could really be nice. I mean, you know, I walk cross country trails, I walk at Marl Park. I'd love to walk here. I mean, you could have a beautiful park. I mean, you can do a lot of things. But like I said, this drone is keeping me up at night. Yeah, it's a top of the line drone too. You know, I questioned and talked to a lot of people about it. I get it. You know, like I said, I know a lot about drones. Trust me, I do. I had a $7,000 drone crash because of dust. Because I was filming. Okay, you gotta be really careful. Cold weather, I get it. You know, I was told, well, the drone has heated batteries. So does my car. You know, anything with new technology has heated batteries, you have to have it. You know, you gotta pay attention to that. You should log all that stuff. You know, your flight times, I go on that lake all summer long, 10 miles an hour in my pontoon boat, takes me an hour to go around it. You fly around it with a drone at 10, the drone could go 50, your battery life is gonna be 22 minutes at 50. I mean, you know, there's a lot going on, and I don't wanna see a $10,000 drone crash on the ice again. 4 years you got out of that drone. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Jason? Oh, there we are. Okay, thank you. Okay, very good. Any board member, do you have any comments or otherwise? Thank you for your comments. Anybody else out in the audience that have any comments? Like, on the items on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, then we will go into our new business. The first order of business is the Cherry Capital request for support for the Metro Act application. And we talked about obviously this at the work session and also heard the presentation from the work session. And so I would entertain a motion that the board approve the Cherry Capital Connection LLC Metro Act permit bilateral form right away telecommunications in Gerrish Township, Roscommon, Michigan, as presented, and also to authorize Clerk Squires to sign on behalf of the township and make that communication. So, thank you, Treasurer Anderson, for the motion, for the motion and support.
I'll support that.
Supported by Trustee Doppy. Any further discussion on that item? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. The motion carries. Thank you. Number two, there is an authorization tonight, or request for authorization of Chief Fisher to spend up to $10,000 for the replacement of the drone. That I think Mr. Janowski just spoke on. And so I would like to know if there's a board member that would like to make the motion for the board to approve it and authorize Gerrish Fire Department EMS to spend up to $10,000 to replace the department drone as presented by Chief Fisher.
And I know that this is my first real meeting.
Well, there's no motion on the floor yet.
Yeah, what I'd like, before we make that, if it would be possible for the chief to address the board for a second.
Very good. Chief?
You shared with me some information today, and I'd like to repeat it if you would, about what you use that drone for.
So the drone that we had previously, we used it on several missions over the years. One in particular that sticks in my mind was on July 4th. We had a fire at a house, early in the morning. We suppressed that fire, we kept it to the back room of the house, and then we were starting to mop up, so we put the drone up with a thermal imaging camera on it. And we looked at the house and we found that there was still fire in the attic that we couldn't see. So we ended up taking the ceiling down in the living room, protecting all the furniture and property in the living room before we took the ceiling down. We took the ceiling down so we could access the fire. Without the thermal imaging camera, we wouldn't have seen it as quickly as we have. We would have gotten further into the house and been more difficult to put out. Another time that we took the drone out, there was a plane that left the airfield by the state police post on the grass strip over there. That plane ended up in the swamp on the other side of 27. Nobody could really find it. We took the drone over there and got up and we could see the plane and the people and they were okay. And so we used it that way. And Mr. Donski's right, there's not many drones around the area here at fire departments. There are some up, I think north of Traverse City, there's a fire department that has one and some downstate, obviously. But we share our resources across this part of the state. We have mutual aid agreements with other departments. For instance, we do not have an aerial ladder that reaches 80 or 100 feet up in the air. But we have buildings that we require that, such as the schools and churches and businesses that would require a device like that to get up there. That's a $2 million device, apparatus. So we have mutual aid agreements where we can borrow one from another department. So if we call for help, Grayling City or Lake Township Fire Department or Roscommon Township Fire Department can send us their aerial device and we can use it on fire free of charge. And we have the same thing with the drone. Our $10,000 drone can go down and help with search and rescue and fire scenes and things like that. This summer, we had a fatal accident out here near the fire station that involved 3 vehicles. One person died in that. When the accident investigation was going on, I talked to the police officer that was there, one of our police officers, and I said, if we had a drone, would it help? And he said, oh, yeah, a drone would have helped a lot with that police investigation. So there's uses for it. And I think that it'll last us many years. I think the technology has greatly improved with batteries. This one will hold 2 batteries instead of one battery. And if one fails, it'll still return to where it took off from with the other battery. So there's a lot of improvements since the previous drone that we owned. And one of the reasons that the price went up is back in the spring, when we were looking at replacing this drone. After we got permission to do that, we found that there was legislation in the works federally to restrict the use of drones made out of country, specifically in China, and DJI is the company we were working with out of China. And the federal government was looking at passing a bill that would restrict the use of those, especially by federal agencies and state agencies and the like. So we held off, waiting to see if there was going to be a problem. We didn't want to buy a drone and then not be able to use it because the federal government says you can't. So we watched that bill. It went through. It was attached to a military funding bill. This summer this fall it was removed from that funding bill for the military and held separately, and doesn't seem to be going anywhere. In our discussions with the drone folks that do this all the time in the world of drones, experts around, they're confident that it's not going to be a problem. And then if it does become an issue, that it'll be for the federal government only and won't affect other agencies. So we are confident with moving forward now. And unfortunately, over that time frame, the price has went up on those things.
Jim, can you educate everybody here? What is the training standard for that for your pilots?
So our pilots have to pass, what's the
Part 107,
part 106.
107.
107 is the FAA rule that the pilots have to pass. We currently have 4 FAA certified pilots, and we have a couple of other individuals that are interested in going and getting their certification as well. It's a little bit of a process. But then they are certified to fly. They have to follow all the FAA rules. If they're going to fly at night or over crowds and things like that, they have to get special permission. We've used it at the state park in the during 4th of July, when there's a lot of law enforcement and fire activity going on there, EMS activity. We can get the drone up and observe what's going on in that area because it gets to be pretty crazy.
What happened over here?
Yeah.
Anybody?
I think the tech that our fire department puts into their department and the stuff they look into and the personnel they put into this is what sets us apart from lots of others. We've been through this from Chief Fisher at our work session and heard what he talked about tonight, plus additional stuff that he talked about at the work session. Not a lot around, it's a mutual aid sharing. I'm all for it. It's a piece of equipment they need.
More questions? Anybody? Supervisor?
Is it good? Is there someone on the board willing to make the motion to approve and authorize the Gerrish Township Fire EMS Department? Spend up to $10,000 to replace that drone as presented by Chief Fisher.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Moved by trustee Appy. Yeah, seconded by treasurer Anderson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of that motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Number three, Jim, you probably really need to stand up here, I guess, but number three is something that we obviously do with regret. And it is the retirement of Chief Fisher from our fire and EMS chief position effective March 1st, 2025. Is there a board member willing to make the motion that we accept that letter of intent?
I'll move with regret.
I was gonna say, I'll move because I know how he feels recently. So you're moving, Treasurer Anderson? Okay, support?
I'll support.
Support trustee Copy. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carries. Thank you, Jim. From the bottom of our hearts, I know that I served with Jim for a great number of years back in the 80s as well, before he was chief, and great immense amount of respect for his abilities and administrative abilities. And we are, regardless of who we wind up hiring, we're still gonna have a vacuum of knowledge that will exit our building. And we were very fortunate that he came to us. I think he's done some great things while he was here in his full-time capacity, but Jim, thank you. I know you're anxiously looking, and I know your wife is definitely ready, so.
Thanks, Brian.
We're on to number 4, which is the organizational chart, 2025. For those of you that didn't join us, obviously for the work session, every year we have an organizational chart of appoint liaisons with particular different departments within the township. Not a micromanagement system, but a liaison, so that when they have some questions or otherwise that don't quite rise to the level of having all 5 of us in the room, but we can help talk through issues with them and that kind of thing, as it relates to what the board would need or things like that. So, presented one of those at the work session. I have heard nothing back from any of the board members that indicate that they didn't want or otherwise, so the particular assignments. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion that the board would approve the 2025 Gerrish Township Liaison Assignment Organizational Chart as it was presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Appy. Second. Thank you, trustee Osling. Any further discussion, guys? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we're on to the next item on the agenda, which is the board liaison, Jim Osling to the renewal board. As some of you are aware, if you joined us at the work session, or I guess popularly look at us on YouTube, you know that we've been discussing a way to kind of, shall we say, help participate in these discussions rather than being a passenger in some discussions. And with that, trustee Osling has graciously agreed to be formally appointed as a liaison, not a board member to LUA, but however, a liaison to LUA, which would help as a better conduit for our board to help, that, shall I say, understand. Some of us are not techie folks, so Jim has a huge background in, I guess, project management and things like that, and which I think would be a tremendous help for all of us to provide some of that structure that I know I felt I was looking for in April when I came in and looking to find. So with that being said, is there anybody on the board willing to make a motion that the board formally adopt, or excuse me, appoint trustee Jim Osling as the formal liaison to the Gerrish Line Utility Authority effective immediately?
So move.
I'll support that. We have a motion by Treasurer Anderson and support by myself. Any further discussion, board, about the, who's with that?
Thank you.
You got it. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. That motion carries. Thank you. And Jim, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Certainly, I'm looking forward to it. Certainly. Along with that, for some time now, and I think you know the election process sometimes felt like it's elongated out or otherwise. I know that there were some discussions had over the previous months about trustee Osling has said that he wanted to run for the position. And of course, started throwing together, I shouldn't say throwing together, systematically organizing different things regarding the current situation with our sewer authority. Also looking at what have we done, what haven't we done? With that, obviously, he unveiled a Health of Higgins Lake debrief overview at our work session. You didn't see it, go on YouTube and you can see we call the executive level. There's certainly much more to it with a lot more thought. Thank you for his efforts. And I know that I have talked to him. I know Treasurer Anderson Michelle has talked to him, and everybody is separately kind of taking a look to try and put some, I guess, some, I don't know how to put the wheels together, if you will. Pretty impressed with the work. And with that, felt like we needed to have a Health of Higgins Lake committee that might run parallel at this point to start looking at some of the processes, Mr. Connected, you alluded to those kinds of things. And then, you know, come up with ways to work in the future so we have a healthier Higgins Lake. And I don't think anybody's the fact that nobody wants a healthier Higgins Lake. I get there. And so I'm hoping that spirit will continue. And with that, I would like to know if there's a board member that is willing to make a motion to create a 5-member steering committee to be herein named the Higgins Lake, or the Health of Higgins Lake Steering Committee. Any such appointees will be appointed by the Gerrish Township Board from vetted applications. Anybody want to add to or subtract from that at all with a motion? Sounds about right to me. Sounds about right to you?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Clerk Squires and second by Treasurer Anderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Trustee Osling is working on the finer points of the committee of, you know, how to move forward. And do you have any other comments on that, Jim, that you can kind of share, because it's kind of evolved?
Yeah, it's, you're right, we're just getting started, obviously, with this, the board's support for steering committee to take a look at some of the comments that you've already made. What is the condition of the lake now? What's been studied? What has not been studied? Where is the low hanging fruit? Where are the areas that we can improve on right now, early on? And also to have the board's input and firsthand knowledge of what's going on at Lua and the efforts that they've got into looking for engineering resources and engineering approaches and taking a look at different ideas and all, that's a whole other project that's going on. We want to be able to be sure that that the township board and GLUA are understanding what each of us are doing. There's a bunch of other stuff with regard to promoting and community involvement and education and other things that we need to take a look at, invasive species and fertilizer and septics and all that stuff would become a part of where do we stand, what needs to be done, are we going as far as we can with all those items? And as new stuff comes up, find a spot for it to get put into the overall plan, so more of the community involvement would be this Health of Higgins Lake piece and run in parallel with what GLUA is doing with regard to the technical side. A lot of answers, a lot of questions out there for sure, but we're just getting started and try to keep everybody updated as the progress we're making at each board meeting.
And thanks. The composition of that board, I know you're still putting some collective thoughts together, Jim, before we open those positions.
Exactly.
For potential appointments.
Yeah, I don't think I'd lay anything out until I get some papers on or some words on the page.
So as the board chair, I just asked for just a tad bit of space, okay? While we, I love action as much as anyone else does, but I'd like to have at least well thought out action as opposed to just impetuousness and saying, well, this is going to be the, all do all. We need to make sure that the composition, we have it open. And also as I said at the last work session, I know that there are fringes on both sides of the arguments. We're looking for people that want to talk about not about, we say tanking everybody one way or another. See if we can respect each other, bring some of that back to the community, bring some of that respect and dignity back, and bring this community back together. So your patience is greatly appreciated. We'll move as quickly as we can because we know that if you can't talk to anybody that it's not about GLUA. Basically, the day-to-day, if it isn't GLUA, it's trash. Other than those two issues, there's a lot else going on in township government too, so appreciate your patience. Okay, we are on to number 7, which is another piece of the, shall I say, the Gerrish Line Utility Authority pieces. We were given a recommendation by the Gerrish Line Utility Authority. And as supported by the Articles of Incorporation, Article 7, paragraph 4, the at-large piece is a shared piece between us and Lyon Township. Our exiting board said they would feel more comfortable if our board handled this recommendation. As of a few days ago, and I have not been notified otherwise, that recommendation by the GLUA board still exists, asking us to approve James Kaufman. Now, to frame that, the other side, Lyon Township side of it, for everybody out there, they rescinded the old board's supporter of Mr. Kaufman as that other half. Then I'm not aware why, and I will be seeking out some other answers as well. I'm trying to give that board its moments for a little bit just to get their feet on the ground as well. But we still have a valid recommendation before us by the current Gerrish Line Utility Authority Board. The new 3 people that were appointed after some had been removed in Lyon Township, that GLUA board has not met. Is that correct? I know Mr. Checker out there, Mr. Lamb, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so therefore, it lays fairly upon us to deal with that recommendation. Clearly in Article 7 and paragraph 4, it says that they do have the authority to recommend to us or has the authority to do that. It's not somebody we just put out a committee and say, or an application, say, hey, do you want to be on this piece? So that being said, that is before us. And so I guess I'd like to see how the board would like to roll with this. Does anybody want to entertain a motion to accept James Kaufman? All of the board members had an opportunity to speak with him while I'm on, and I think all the board members did have a comment at the Tuesday night or Thursday, excuse me, work session. So, is there a motion that the board accept James Kaufman as Gerrish Township's portion of the at-large board seat at the recommendation of the Gerrish Line Utility Authority pursuant to the Articles of Incorporation, Article 7, Paragraph 4? You get it, the board member, what's it?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that people understand that it was a conscious decision not to take care of this until the new board came on. It was intentional. It wouldn't have been right to take care of it without waiting for the new board. So that's why it hasn't been taken care of yet. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I've been very vocal. I don't like lame duck. And lame duck is what happened in Lyon Township, and then new board came in and apparently in a different direction or mind or otherwise, and then rescinded what the old board done. Didn't want to place us all in that position. So in good conscience, is someone willing to make the
I'll make the motion.
to fulfill our obligation at this point?
I just wanted to just look at that was to just lend my support for Mr. Kaufman. We met with him, I think everybody's probably had a chance to talk with him. He's very well qualified and wants to be involved, and having my knowledge and association with some of the guys on Blue, he will fit in nicely. So I think he's exactly the right kind of person we need. So
I will make that motion.
You will make the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there support for that motion?
I'll second.
Ordered by trustee Ossoll. Is there any further conversation or discussion, board? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those the same, motion carries. Thank you. So we're on to number 8. Number 8's got 3 parts actually to it. You see it all lined up there, slashed. But I've got them separately in the motions because I think it's important that we do that. I continue to work on the things that I found when I got here, when I went to look for answers and they didn't exist. To get things properly codified so that maybe in the future, when we have new boards or new people, a good orientation and onboarding can occur. So we don't have vacuums of knowledge and how things were done or otherwise. Or having to scurry around trying to find something. So with that, I have endeavored upon a section in our policy manual called board governance, because they're simply put no bylaws for the board. By the way, they're not required by law. But to be able to have a board member that can come in and look at it and see this is standard. So the first one is would like to know if a board member would make a motion to approve the addition of the board ethics policy as presented, and for it to be placed under the board governance section of the Gerrish Township Policy Manual to be effective today, 12/10/24.
I'll make that motion, Brian.
I'll second it.
Moved by Clerk Squires, supported by trustee Hoppy. Anybody have any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same, motion carries. The next portion of 8 is deals with board conflict of interest. So that there's proper disclosure when you do have a conflict of interest, and everybody knows it ahead of time, and maybe proper extensions can be done and those kinds of things. We've seen from those. With that being said, anybody want to make a motion? The board approve the addition of the conflict of interest policy as presented, and for it to be placed under the board governance section of the Gerrish Township Policy Manual, effective 12/10/24. So I got a motion
I'll second it.
worded by, trustee. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, I really don't. I can't cipher it by gray hair, I don't know. I do apologize to both of you, I hope that I get it.
But it's still early.
Yeah,
I thought it would be the two chin.
take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor and we have support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. The next one is the addition of an appointment policy. And it will have a brief application so that when anytime we have appointments to be made that are not statutory in nature, supervisor recommends for board review and for the Gerrish Township Planning Commission rooted in the state statute. However, other board appointments to include our new health of Higgins Lake, to include our portion of contributions of GLUA seats that may need to be either they're expired and come up for reelection, if you will, I should say reappointment. So having nothing to go by before, I went out, did a bunch of research and come up with this appointments policy. So I presented that all to the board. Is anybody willing to make a motion that the board approve the addition to the appointments policy as presented and for it to be placed under the board governance section of the Gerrish Township Policy Manual effective 12/10/24?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Osmond.
I'll support it.
Thank you, trustee Hoppy. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And then we're on your sheet, we are on to number 9. This is a electronic transaction policy. It's actually rooted in statute, it's ever since 2000 and, I'm gonna read the resolution, not the resolution, but since 2002, actually. When it became popular, start doing ACH or electronic transactions, and there was no, other than the state law, there was no policy or anything that would exist here. So, policy comes directly out of the state statute, and the resolution does as well. And I will read the resolution before we look to take any action. There will be a roll call vote afterwards. So this is resolution for ACH electronic transactions, resolution number 2024-12-10-15. Whereas on December 30th, 2003, the governor of the state of Michigan approved Act number 738 of the Public Acts of 2002, authorized the use of electronic transaction by designated officers of a local government. And whereas the Gerrish Township Board deems that it is the best interest of the township to make certain financial transactions by using electronic transaction as described in the act. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following policy shall govern the use of electronic transaction. The treasurer / electronics transaction officer, or ETO, shall be responsible for establishing all ACH arrangements for the township. The treasurer / ETO shall draft a written policy to be followed in accordance with the act and presented to the Gerrish Township Board, which we also have. The treasurer / ETO shall be responsible for payment approval, accounting, reporting, general overseeing compliance, or shall appoint an employee to perform such duties. The treasurer shall submit documentation to the Gerrish Township Board by resolution or charter requirements detailing goods and services purchased, the cost of goods, services made payment, and the department level service. All ACH transactions shall be approved by the treasurer / ETO before the payment is made. And that is the resolution. Is there a board member willing to make the motion? I'll make the motion. Anybody willing to support it?
I'll support it.
Supported by Clerk Squires. Any further discussion? Excuse me. Roll call, please.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
trustee Appy,
Yes.
clerk Squires,
Yes.
trustee Osling,
Yes.
supervisor Hill.
Yes. The motion carries. That's 5-0. And now we're on to Mary Jo Hockey, number 10, resignation of the ZBA, excuse me, alternate. Mary Jo has authored a letter, wanting to resign from the zoning board of appeals as an alternate member of same. That resignation be effective, December 31st of 24, commensurate with the term expiration of that seat. This would be one of those seats in which we would open up to the public, and if anybody wanted to serve as an alternate, in which that process will be followed. The process will get posted on the website for the appointment and the applications. There'll be an opening and there'll be a closing date on those, and then a consideration after that's done by the board. So, then I'll make a motion that we accept the resignation of Mary Jo Hockey from the zoning board of appeals as an alternate member of same effective 12/31/24. Commensurate with the term expirations. What do you like?
I'll second.
Work by Treasurer Anderson.
Thanks.
Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye. Those the same, the motion carried, thank you. Board members, tonight, we're gonna have comments before we have announcements. So the announcements, obviously, there's gonna be some, holiday announcements and things like that we'll do, right after this, but I'd like to turn this around just a little bit. Any final parting comments from the board? About any? You're dying to get off the chest. What's that? Well, I'm gonna give the public the last one.
Wow.
That's right.
I'll just say that I'm pleased to be able to work with everybody and the first three weeks has been good. And we're getting there, but some of the process that we've changed, and if you read the treasurer's report, I put a narrative that back. I have a goal that I set. You told me you're not gonna hold me to it, but by the end of December, the reporting will be even better than it is now and what it has been. And more timely.
He told me real time.
It is.
It will be.
Receipts are now on real time.
God bless you, I'm looking forward to it. Any other board member have any parting comment?
I'm excited to have the two gyms.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Thank you.
Like a breath of fresh air. You know, you can just feel the difference in our building actually. And it's noticed. I heard somebody tell Jim that everybody is so nice here. didn't they?
And people are paying their taxes and smiling.
No, it's wonderful. Appreciate it.
I just want to say, thanks to the community for the support that I saw at the election. I'm glad to be here. I was here 20 years ago and I'm back again, and I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of exciting stuff to work on and to be involved in, and look forward to working with the community and with the board on a couple of things that are on my plate. So, thank you.
My perspective again, we have some work to do, and I think we have a board that wants to do the work. And I think that I look forward to it, and the vast experience that is on this board, I think is going to bode well for our township and in our community. I'm absolutely, as a supervisor, committed to bringing our community together where we should be. However that's gotta go about happening, it's worth the investment. So that being said, I thank you. Announcements, Michelle, because I know you've probably got them already at the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll be closed for the holiday, starting December 20th. We come back on January 2nd. The treasurer's office will be open on December 30th, 9 to 5. Our work session in January, typically our work sessions are the first Thursday. But that first Thursday back is the 2nd, so we went ahead and bumped that up a week, so it'll be the 9th. The board meeting stays the same for January though.
A January 9th work session
Yeah.
change, not the time, just the date, and no change to the regular January.
Correct. And that has been put on the website already, so just a reminder. think that's it. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, it is.
There you go, announcement.
Everybody have safe holidays.
Jim?
I'm good, I don't have anything.
Jim?
Covered it.
Me too. Public comment.
I just have one. The health of Higgins, how are you gonna communicate that to the residents? I mean, it's gonna be in a board meeting, is it gonna be online, notes, videos, you know? How are we gonna know what's happening with your new committee?
Well, certainly we'll be at the board meetings and the work sessions. I expect to make reports to each, twice a month, or at each of those meetings anyway. Everything that gets, right now, I'd anticipate that everything that gets, I'll say approved, or it's a direction that we're headed, will end up on the website. Try to do them in formats that are easy to understand, likely PowerPoints or documents that are easy to understand. So once again, it's just getting started, a work in progress, so I'm gonna do my best to keep everybody.
And you're doing it for free?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Okay,
That's a relative term, I think, but yeah. I mean, I get paid as a trustee, but that's it.
well,
That's
I
what
mean,
you-
just like the other Jim, you know, I don't wanna pay him as a consultant anymore,
No.
when he's already employed for us, so.
We are still
Clear that.
They're making less money too.
Yeah, I
We
wish.
still trying to-
Well, the
And,
supervisor took a cut, so, you know.
Anybody else in the public for public comment? Marty, could make, you wanna come up or shout it out?
I couldn't make last month's meeting, so this is a little bit late.
What about?
I just want to thank everybody for all the work that was done on the election and the early voting, the mail-in ballots, and the day of election, everything I think went well, and I know it was a challenging task, and I appreciate all the work everybody did.
Thank you.
But I do want to thank all of you for the work you do every day.
Thank you, I appreciate that. In my report, I shout out to Michelle. Thanks to the group, your deputy clerk, Lynn Fever here, and that bipartisan group that she put together for our election staff and their accuracy and their, well, anybody else in the public?
Well, you got one online. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say good meeting and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope everything goes well for everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. All right, I will.
Hello?
Hello, who's there?
Hello, hi there. My name is Lori Andrews, Gerrish Township. I just have a few points. First of all, I would like to know about these Zoom recordings. I'm curious as to how you decide which ones get uploaded onto YouTube. Several of them I see are recorded, but then they never land on the YouTube channel. And for somebody in a different time zone, like I am, it's a little difficult to catch some of the meetings. So if you could please upload all of the recordings onto YouTube, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Secondly, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
I got a puzzled looking face because I know that I'm looking at my media IT person over here who sits down at the end and loads them to YouTube.
There was an issue with the
There was an issue, what?
with the special the planning commission meeting on Thursday. It did not upload on time, but it was,
So I'm being told the planning commission had technical difficulty in the uploading. Is it fixed?
yes, it was uploaded last night.
Well, it's fixed now, I understand. So go
Okay.
ahead, ma'am.
And also, to clarify, there have been several meetings that have been recorded that have not been uploaded. So if we could rectify that, that would be great. For instance, your recent work session, just on the 5th, that was not uploaded until yesterday, sometime
That was the
late
one I was talking
afternoon. Yeah. And it was rare for that to be uploaded so late in the week. Usually what happens is like the plan commission meeting doesn't get uploaded. No parks committee meetings have been uploaded. and so on and so forth. If at all possible, it would be great if you guys could upload these recordings. It's wonderful that you do this, but some of us really, can't get up at the crack of dawn to listen to the meetings live. So it would be great if we could get them recorded.
If I can interrupt you just a minute there. That is going to be discussed at our budget, work session coming up on expenses. It is quite costly to do every meeting for the board. The board's gonna have to make a decision whether or not they're going to totally step into that pool with each and every moment of every meeting and putting all of them out there to be, not to, say that one's not more important than the next, but that is gonna be a budgetary consideration coming up.
Okay, that makes sense. If I could please request that we at least do the plan commission meetings and the board work sessions. The board work sessions are crucial because, as you know, that's where the sausage gets made. And that's where all the interesting conversations take place. So people are more prepared for this meeting than if they watch that meeting. Okay. All right. So I don't want to take up too much time because I know I have a time limit. My next thing is I would like to recommend Dave Knifick to your steering committee. He has the support of those who oppose the sewer, and he has the respect of everyone in the community. So he's really knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about. Everyone trusts him on our side of this issue. And I would really appreciate if you would seriously consider him to be on your steering committee. Right. The next thing is at your last work session, you mentioned that you didn't know if the New Lyon Township Board was planning anything in regard to lake quality. And I wanted to point out that they do in fact intend to do a lake quality study, a lake-wide quality study, and to pinpoint sources of pollution to the lake. And so I think it would be great if you guys could contact either Supervisor Bertrand or Timothy Monet, the trustee there, who seemed to be the main person who was running on that issue. So that would be great if you guys could hook up with them, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to have your steering committee be all isolated from whatever their efforts are. It would be better if, you guys could at least, if not work together, touch base with each other to, see what the other guy's doing, because it's only one lake with 2 townships on it. So lastly, I noticed when I saw Mr. Osterling's presentation, one thing that was not on there was the effects of building on the lake. There's a lot of building that's going on. I noticed, I know you guys get, money for the work, the permits and all the stuff that goes with it, but building has a serious effect on lake quality. And I really think that you should add that to your items to be looked into. And lastly, and I'm trying to make this as brief as possible. Lastly, I am curious if you can explain to me how it is that you can approve Jim Kaufman to be an at-large candidate if Lyon Township has refused to consider him. Doesn't the at-large candidate, in fact, represent both townships? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. First off, before I can't let it go. I don't want to hear your side, my side.
I didn't say your side, my side. I said those
You
that
just said
oppose
the
the
other side, and I don't. That is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
I am all about it, but I am not about.
I'm sorry. I'm having difficulty hearing you, sir.
Not moving forward in a proper type of tone and environment.
Okay, like I said, I misspoke. Excuse me. I'm having difficulty hearing you is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, with regards to contacting Lyon Township, prior to the, I will say this, prior to even the election, there was 2 attempts to get together with Mr. Monet, both canceled, not by me. I do plan on later on this week contacting Mr. Bertrand, now that I know their first actions and what they're doing, because I really would like a definition of what their ideas and thought processes are. Because simply put, again, we cannot have a we and they's. It needs to be an us. And I'm hoping that we can do that. I think that's a logical way forward. Is to try and go and do this together. And not get off on tangents. And that's where I'm at on that. So there has been attempts. I will continue to try that. I will not be in the office tomorrow, but I will be Thursday. And that is job one, is to get with my counterpart, Mr. Bertrand, and see if I can get a meeting with Mr. Bertrand. And shall I say, sit down and discuss, rather than each of us or anyone having to look at each other's YouTube videos. This seems counterproductive. So.
I don't know what that means.
I stepped on you, so I'm gonna give you just another minute.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Look at each other's YouTube videos. Oh, you mean Lyon Township and Gerrish Township. I'm sorry. This is one last issue. Your microphones, although it's very clear for you guys in the room, your microphones have this intense echo on them that makes it really, really muddy. The sound is really muddy and it's really hard to understand you guys. So forgive me. I was just trying to tell you that I couldn't hear you, sir. I misspoke. The reason why, I point out, the people that were opposed to the sewer is because every single one of you that are now elected on this board ran on being, either you governed being for the sewer or you ran without. Yes, you did. You all governed, all of you voted except for possibly you, the trustee. But bottom line is, it's clear that there's a division in this community. I'm all for working together, but jumping on me for misspeaking really isn't very productive in my opinion. So I apologize, but we do, the people on my side of this issue, the people that, fought this sewer tooth and nail. The people on my side of this issue did fight the sewer tooth and nail. Sir, I don't know where you stand on this issue. You have never said one way or the other if you're for or against the sewer. So there's no way for me to know. All I know is that I'm on the side that oppose the step system. And so I'm just saying that there are a lot of people like me. And if you're interested in hearing from us at all on your steering committee, I would recommend that you put some people that were opposed to the sewer on your committee so that we can in fact work together. Thank you for hearing me. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry if I offended you. I really wasn't trying to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Is there any other public comment? Look forward to working with you all. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee. Anybody support that? Supported by Clerk Squires. Any more discussion? All of those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Same motion carries. Thank you all for coming out. Meeting is adjourned at 8:00. Thank you, sir.